Imagine peering through a telescope. You're observing the universe, but your view is shaped by the lens you choose. Similarly, in educational research, we use different lenses called epistemological paradigms. These paradigms influence how we understand knowledge and conduct research. They shape our research questions, the methods we employ, and how we interpret our findings. Just as a telescope reveals the wonders of the cosmos, understanding these paradigms unlocks the complexities of learning and teaching. The positivist paradigm, like a telescope searching for distant galaxies, seeks clear and objective truths in education. It believes that universal laws govern learning, which can be discovered through careful observation and measurement. Imagine scientists in a lab controlling variables to study the effects of a new teaching method. They use standardized tests and statistical analysis to find objective evidence and generalize their findings. While this approach is good for finding cause and effect relationships, it may miss the unique experiences and social contexts of individual learners. Compared to other paradigms like Interpretivism, which focuses on understanding individual experiences, or critical theory, which looks at power dynamics, Positivism is more about finding general truths. In the realm of epistemology, Positivism emphasizes empirical evidence and scientific methods to understand educational phenomena. The post-positivist paradigm suggests that while we strive for objectivity in educational research, it's not always fully possible. Unlike the positivist approach, which seeks absolute objectivity, post-positivism accepts that our observations are influenced by our perspectives and tools. This paradigm still values rigorous methods and data analysis, but acknowledges the potential for bias. For example, researchers might use surveys, interviews, and classroom observations to get a fuller picture of a phenomenon. They recognize the complexity of education, understanding that multiple perspectives can coexist and enrich our knowledge. In epistemology, post-positivism relates to how we know what we know, emphasizing that knowledge is shaped by our experiences and context. Section 4. Understanding the Interpretivist paradigm in educational research. The Interpretivist paradigm focuses on understanding the meaning and experiences of individuals. Unlike the Positivist paradigm, which seeks objective truths through measurable data, the Interpretivist approach views knowledge as subjective and context-dependent, much like the unique patterns in a kaleidoscope. This paradigm emphasizes the importance of individual experiences and interpretations in shaping learning. In contrast to the constructivist paradigm, which focuses on how learners actively build their own understanding, the interpretivist paradigm delves into the intricate dynamics of classrooms, often using interviews and observations to gather insights. It aims to understand how students and teachers construct meaning within their specific cultural and social contexts. While constructivist researchers might focus on the processes by which students build their knowledge, interpretivist researchers aim to understand the students' unique perspectives and how their backgrounds influence their learning experiences, linking it to the broader field of epistemology in educational research. Section 5. Challenging norms. Critical perspectives in education. Critical perspectives in education, like celestial events that reshape our understanding of the universe, challenge established norms and power structures. These perspectives, including critical race theory, feminist theory, and queer theory, examine how social injustices and inequalities appear in schools. Imagine researchers studying how systemic racism affects students' grades. They would look at policies, curriculum, and classroom interactions to find and challenge unfair practices. This method aims to not only understand, but also change educational systems to be fairer for all students. Unlike traditional paradigms that may focus on measurable outcomes, critical perspectives emphasize the importance of context and power dynamics. In terms of epistemology, these perspectives question whose knowledge is valued and seek to include marginalized voices in educational research. Hey everyone, and welcome. In this section, we're diving into something called deconstructing realities. Sounds complicated, right? Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. We're basically going to look at how we understand the world around us, especially in education. We're going to talk about two big ideas, post-structuralism and postmodernism. Now, these ideas say that there's no single truth that applies to everyone everywhere. Instead, they say that things like language, power, and social structures basically how our society is organized, shape what we think we know. Think of it like this. Imagine a story everyone believes. Post-structuralism and postmodernism encourage us to look closely at that story and ask, who wrote it? Whose voices are missing? And who benefits from everyone believing this story? These ideas are super important in education. They challenge simple ideas like success versus failure. They ask us to think about who gets to decide what success even means. They also help us listen to people whose voices aren't usually heard. Let me give you an example. Think about standardized tests. We often use these tests to measure how well students are learning. But what if the tests themselves are unfair? What if the language or the types of questions favor some students over others? That wouldn't be very fair, right? Gap 2S. Researchers using these ideas might study the words and structure of a test to see if it's really fair to everyone. They might uncover hidden biases that give some students an advantage and put others at a disadvantage. So by questioning how our educational systems work, post-structuralism and postmodernism help us see things in a new light. They encourage us to understand the complicated issues and inequalities that exist in education and to find ways to make things better. And that's what it's all about.